All right, welcome to this episode of the GymInformer podcast. I'm Chris Gilbert, your host for this episode, and today we have Mike Stagg, the owner of the Pit Barbell Club, a super cool old school powerlifting gym in Evansville, Indiana, that I got a chance to work at this past summer. Before we get started talking to Mike about his gym, let's take a pause and I'll show you the photos I took while I was there. All right, Mike. How can you give us a little bit of the background, evolution? Like, how did you and your wife become the owners of the Pit Barbell Club?
Oh,
Did you
wow.
guys start
Okay.
the gym?
So,
How did you become gym owners?
sure. So I started working out at the Pit Barbell Club in 1980 when I was actually in seventh grade
Oh, wow.
uh, for for wrestling. So I worked out there for a while, and then the gym owner, Dick Connor, I guess felt like I would be a good power lifter, that I had a knack for it, and he got me involved in powerlifting, and I stuck with it over the years. Always trained at the pit. Then I believe it was in 2008, it was Dick sold the gym to Pat Tyring, who was another longtime member of the gym. And, I continued to work out there this whole time and kind of transitioned into more coaching the powerlifting team at that point. And
Okay.
then when the COVID shutdowns happened and it hurt a lot of gyms, and Pat was not in a position to reopen the pit when gyms were allowed to reopen. And at that point, I stepped in, and me and my wife bought the gym. And so that
Okay.
was in, I guess, right at the end of COVID, which would have been what, 2019, I believe.
Yeah,
And
probably right around
yeah, so
2020, 2000.
yeah,
Yeah.
so we've owned it since.
So you've been with the gym for most of your life.
Right,
Um, just owned it for a couple of years,
correct.
and you and your wife run it together, I think, right? And
Yeah, I still have a day job, and she runs it mostly during the day, and after my day job, I spend time at the gym primarily training and coaching powerlifters.
okay, cool. So you're obviously really involved there. Um,
Yes,
So now, from an equipment standpoint, it when I was there, it was cool. Like pretty much, it was definitely an old school vibe. Like every piece of equipment in there is something that you'd have to go find, not something that you could call somebody up and go, just bring me this. Every
right.
piece in there was like old school, unique, a lot of body mass or some Nautilus stuff. Um, was it all there when you took over the gym? Did you add new pieces? Can you talk about the equipment selection in the gym? Have you had some influence on that?
Just by being a gym member, as long as I was, and I guess you could say somewhat influential with the powerlifting team. Of course, myself, as well as a lot of other people, probably had influence on the type of equipment that was procured over the years and what we liked. Um, Dick Connor, who really, to be honest, the original owner, dedicated his life to weight training. Uh, we started off with really old school Nautilus equipment, and it got upgraded over the years. But the you probably saw a lot of Med-X equipment in our
Yeah,
gym,
yeah, I hadn't
and
seen that probably anywhere else.
yeah, it's really high end equipment, excellent equipment. But that was procured because we got into time under tension training, and or you may have heard it called super slow training. And so
Hmm.
that's where a lot of those machines were procured. Um, so we occasionally upgrade or update uh, equipment, but yeah, we actually have a vertical leg press that was the first piece of equipment in the gym in 1969. It was built in a junkyard, and it still works fine, but for nostalgia's sake, it's still in the gym. So
Oh wow, yeah, yeah. It's like you definitely had some unique pieces, and I had forgotten what that MedX brand was called, but I knew I hadn't seen it really anywhere else. Um,
yeah,
and it's actually like it's not a huge gym, but you have a fairly decent amount of accessory equipment and an area dedicated to what you could call bodybuilding style lifting or
Sure.
powerlifting accessories. So you could train there as a bodybuilder or a powerlifter. So
Yeah, and over the years, the pit has had a lot of very successful bodybuilders as well come through there. Um, as you sense the vibe at the pit, it's we do have a lot of accessory equipment. We have a lot of good equipment, but we really pride ourselves on being a little bit old school, serious training, and try to stay away from a lot of the vibe that the commercial gyms have.
oh yeah, definitely. As soon as you walk in the door, it gives you that like you need to be here to work kind of vibe.
Right.
And I got a chance to talk to a couple members when I was there. They loved the gym, and but they both echoed like if you're coming here, you're coming here to work. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's the pit. Its whole history has been that way, going back as long as I can remember, and it also has pushed a very respectful atmosphere. So you're expected to come in and we want people to work, but we also, the pit has never been tolerant of what might be traditionally called gym bullying. We're all there to
yeah,
support each other, regardless of the goals.
yeah. Well, being a Hoosier, original Hoosier, I like to think Southern Indiana kind of helped breeds that anyway.
Oh,
So
sure, sure.
you know, yeah, I live on the East Coast now, so not necessarily the same as Southern Indiana as far as that goes. But as far as it seemed to be organized really well. Everything was all the accessory equipment was organized by body part, which was great. Loved that. And then the powerlifting area was still a pretty decent size, um, so that you could get quite a few different people in there, like doing their lifts at the same time. And looked like you had a couple of different coaches, and so
Yeah, we have we have a whether we call them coaches, trainers, whatever. We've got a lot of very knowledgeable, experienced power lifters in there, and everybody kind of gravitates a little bit to the click or the style that they're most comfortable with. Everyone's a
mhm.
little bit different, but yeah, we have our what we call Power Alley, and that's really where the three power lifts are practiced at. We have the deadlift platform, squat racks, and of course the benches back there.
Yeah, and yeah, there were people. I was there in the middle of the day, and there were people there working out. So I imagine you're probably somewhat busy all the time with people coming in and training and at various
Yeah,
times.
yeah. Usually you were probably in there one of the over lunch, and then obviously after work, before work, after work, and lunchtime are typically the busiest times. That's probably
Yeah, I think
typical of most gyms.
I was probably there right after lunch. It wasn't busy, but it wasn't like empty. So,
Right.
but it was it was a good feel. I got a chance to meet a couple members, got a chance to meet a couple of the employees. You and your wife were. They said you guys were off supporting some of your members in a powerlifting meet, which is super awesome. We love to see owners get involved and support their members. So that's super cool. Were you coaching them or?
Yeah, so it depends. I'm not sure exactly which meet it was, but I suspect if we weren't there, it was probably the USPA national meet in Las Vegas last year, and I compete as well. So I was
Okay, awesome.
competing with them. So the day I competed, obviously, I think I was the only one competing that day. But then we stayed there for the rest of the week. We had lifters competing every day, so I stayed to coach everybody. And a lot of the lifters, it was the first time they'd been on a stage that big or a competition that was that large. So kind of helps to calm the nerves or have someone there that you trust to handle things for you.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I totally get that. Now, having owned the pit now for a couple of years, did I hear correctly that you guys have a second location already?
Yes, we do have a second location. It's on the other side of town, and it's a smaller location. And it if you were familiar with the pit before its current location, the quote unquote new location actually has an even more old school feel like the original gym did.
Oh,
It
cool.
definitely is a gym that when you walk into, you walk into work. It's got all of the equipment you could need, but definitely has a definite powerlifting vibe to it as you walk in.
Oh, nice. Well, hopefully we can next time we get to Evansville, we'll check out the second location. Um, are you guys happy with where you are? What's the future for the Pit Barbell Club? Is there going to be a third location? Is it going to be growing? Are you happy with where it is?
Uh, I don't anticipate having a third location, but to be honest, I'm a type of person that's never happy. I always see the room for improvement. We're
Hmm.
always looking to do something better. We put an indoor pickleball court in the back just to appeal to more members. And so in our back, we have a back room that we use. We do powerlifting meets in, and now we have an indoor pickleball court in there too. So people can go back and do some things other than powerlifting, and it just try to appeal to a broader audience.
Hmm.
Over the past couple of years, one of the major areas of growth we've got a number of women over the age of 40 that are now powerlifting that never believed they would ever lift, much less power lift. So, we're really excited about bringing new people into the sport and letting them see all the positive aspects it can bring, both mentally and
Oh,
physically.
oh, yeah, definitely. That's awesome. I hadn't come across anyone who had a pickleball court in their powerlifting gym before.
We do.
Do you find is that helping the community? Like, is that kind of helping build the community feel, or?
Um, it has more to do, I think, with just trying to keep an aspect of the gym that's fun too, right?
Yeah.
The way our atmosphere at the gym is, we personally know everybody in there, and we consider them friends. And on top of just coming in and powerlifting, the pit to me, I've been there my whole life, and it feels very much like a family to me. And I really want other people to feel like that when they come in.
Oh,
You're
yeah, that's
definitely
awesome.
here to get stronger, but I want you to also know that you're in here with people that care about you.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and it's pickleball is interesting in the fact, like, I've come across quite a few gym owners that have basketball courts in their gyms, and they're getting rid of their basketball courts because it brings unwanted activity to the gym per se.
Right.
But a pickleball court probably doesn't do the exact same thing, but offers something extra. So that's an interesting thought process.
Yeah.
So, and
Well,
probably much smaller than a basketball court.
it fit very well with kind of our goal of trying to bring in, um, you know, I don't want to say necessarily old people, but people that are more 40 years old, and also try to appeal more to women. The
Mhm.
pit historically has this label on it that we're a quote hardcore gym, which is true, but people typically associate that with more of an aggressive atmosphere, and that's really not what we're about. And it
Oh
helps
yeah, I didn't get
people
that at
come
all.
in right, and it really, I think, helps to get people to see that's really not what we're about. So,
I, that's a great thought process. I hadn't and that was new to me completely. So um, now, having owned the gym for a couple of years now, and having been a part of the gym for most of your life, is there anything or a piece of advice or some advice that you would give to someone who's thinking about owning a gym or taking over a gym or doing what you've done?
well, so I swore the whole time I lived at a gym that I would never own a gym because I saw all the headaches and the things that went into running it. But then, so here I am. Never say you won't do something. But my advice really to anyone that would want to open a gym is figure out who you are. Who is it you want to appeal to? Um, I think most people when they get into the gym business, they want to look at a lot of the large commercial gyms. And to be honest with you, uh, I can't compete with a large commercial gym anyhow, and I wouldn't want to. Our niche is we're a very good powerlifting gym, and we have that kind of old school hard work ethic to us. And everybody in our area knows that if you're a power lifter and you're not working out at the pit, you're probably not a serious power lifter.
Yeah, that's awesome that you guys have that reputation. Yeah, we had Wayne Ellis on from BFit, and having been to three of their gyms, like if that's where you're going, like the pit's probably not. where you want to be. But if you want to be a serious lifter, like that's where the pit's where you want to go. So
Yeah,
they're two completely different environments.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm saying. You got to know who you are. I have no desire to be what be fit or that type of atmosphere is. Not that there's anything wrong with it. That's just not who we are. That's not who we're catering to.
Yeah, it's good that you know who you are, and that's where you stay in your lane, kind of.
Right.
And cater to your people and make sure you get the best that you can for them. That's awesome. So I appreciate you coming on, and thank you. And I think it's a great gym. And hopefully the next time I get down to Evansville, I'm usually back in Indiana every summer. Hopefully I get back down there and I can see that second location. I'd love to see, a little more hardcore gym even. So
yeah, that'd be great. I look forward to it.
All right, I'll let you know. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more great content.